Chicken's good. I like chicken.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
All right, everybody! Woo! Yeah! Woo! It's one fucking hour time. Of course, I'm Evan Husney, and this is the show where we talk about one goddamn movie, and we just have one fucking hour to do it. It's time to get out of the 30s and back into the 80s for tonight, everybody. Right. Of course, because this is episode, I think, 134, where we're going to be getting into one fucking hour on Death Wish 3. But let me introduce my guests. To my left, we got, of course, as always, Big T, Tom Fitzgerald. T, what's going on?
I like chicken. Chicken's good.
Excellent. Okay. Wonderful. And to the I gotta stop getting the knee jerk to the far right. I'm sorry,
well,
Marcus.
you know, tonight it would be appropriate for this film, I think.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Sure.
Right. Right. Okay. So from the our NRA representative here on the far right, we have Mr. Marcus Herring.
Right.
What's going on,
Just
Marcus?
cleaning up the streets. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. And we have here for the first time on the show, only took 134 episodes to get you on, of course, my partner in crime on Dark Side of the Ring, filmmaker of Hobo with a Shotgun, Kids versus Aliens. We have Jason Eisener. Welcome to the show, finally.
Thanks, guys. I feel like I'm the first, one fucking hour mark to be a guest on the show.
Oh,
Huge fan. Wow. It's an honor to be on, get a glimpse of the behind the scenes.
Long-time listener, first-time guest.
Yes.
Thing. All right,
Exciting.
Well, so you know how things work around here.
Your fan club card is 001.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much, yeah. I gotta be one of the first Patreon subscribers.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, welcome.
Oh, welcome. Yeah. See,
Could be fun.
If you sign up for the Patreon, you'll never know. Maybe you'll be on the show someday. You'll never.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Jason was randomly selected.
It was
pool of Patreon.
Yes, he was.
Right. Then he became your creative partner in all these different endeavors.
That's how it works.
That's a separate thing. This is, I think this was Jason's Make-A-Wish Foundation request.
Yeah. So. Yes, this is the dream come true right here.
That kid of one fucking hour.
Yeah. Bad kid. No, but I think it's very apropos. You know, if you look at Jason's work, you could see that there's definitely an influence from movies like Death Wish 3. So it's obviously on brand, shall we say, to have you on the show for tonight. So very much looking forward to this. Is kind of our palate cleanser episode. Because, for the past 4 weeks, we've been getting into the 1930s. We just did a new bonus, which we'll talk about shortly. But now we're getting out of the crust of the 30s, and we're getting into the what? The grime of the 80s.
The grit and grime, the cesspool of the last 30, 40 years of film.
Yes.
And nothing beats being right in the middle of the 80s.
I know.
With Death Wish 3.
Death Wish 3. What a title to select to follow up the 30s. But we're going to get into that. But before we do, guys, it's time to give a shout out to the one fucking hour.
Let's get real.
Patreon. Patreon.com/one fucking hour is where you can sign up. It's the best way to support the show, right? Just $5 a month. Get access to all of our bonus eps, audio commentary tracks, and you also get 24-hour early access to all the episodes. You get to be the coolest kid in school if you're up on the Patreon. But if you want to keep all your content up on YouTube instead, you can go to our channel homepage, find the join button, click that, and become a Momen of the YouTube channel. Same perks, same benefits. We appreciate the support nonetheless. We hired Jason, get this, our first employee we just hired, who's editing clips for us now. So this will be the best way to support him and his family as well, by becoming a patron. And we have a new episode that has just gone up on the Patreon and on the YouTube. That is a bonus, as I mentioned earlier, to our 1930 series, where we're going deep on all the other, for further reading, if you will, films that we love from the 30s.
It's a runner-up roundup.
Runner-up roundup.
30s titles that, were also grabbed our attention.
Yes. So that is the only place
with Ramey Bennett.
That's right. Ramey joined us, and so that is the only place you can hear that is up on the One Fucking Hour Patreon, or if you become a Momen of the YouTube channel. So thank you everybody who signed up this far. We appreciate you
indeed.
For helping us out. So, all right. Well, are you guys ready to get into this? Shall we? Shall we do it? Shall we get into the show?
Let's fucking go.
All right.
Let's clean those streets.
Here we go. All right. Well, actually, you know what, Tom? I think it's really time to
start the clock.
Right? So let's get into that. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, here comes the clock. God damn it. All right, brace yourselves. Here it comes. Oh, okay. All right. As usual here, customary in the show, I'm going to read a synopsis for Death Wish 3, but I thought it would be absolutely apropos if we did it from our good friend Zach Carlson and Brian Connolly, who's been on the show.
Oh, shit.
Let's crack open Destroy All Movies.
That's right. Because we're here. We're in the reverse Mohawk zone of cinema.
The faux punk world of 80s cinema. And we're going to get into what they had to say about Death Wish 3. Wait. So this will be our synopsis tonight, of course, written by Zach Carlson. Here we go. Death Wish 3. All right. Paul Kersey isn't back in New York for a full 5 minutes before stumbling across a ruthless gang killing. He's senselessly charged for the murder and ends up in an overcrowded holding tank with local junior crime kingpin Manny Fraker, played by Gavin O'Hurley, a hot-headed maniac with a reverse mohawk, Tom.
There it is.
The cops make a surprise deal with Kersey, releasing him to take on New York City's gang Scourge. The criminal crew in question is composed of leather-bound warriors cast-offs with uniform face paint and an iron grasp on the streets. Kersey dives face first into the fray, assaulting the cartoonish hoods without a moment's hesitation. The film takes an unexpected, undeath-wishy turn when the local tenement residents rally together behind Kersey to help even the odds. Where the first two films explored lone wolf vigilantism, DW3 has an entire neighborhood taking on the criminal threat. So there you go. And just as a little addendum, this film was initially slapped with an X rating due to its nearly 50 on-screen homicides.
Holy shit.
So there you go.
That's some kind of record.
It is.
That's a nice little write-up from Zach. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Shout out Zach Carlson. We love you.
Zach
Thank
Carlson
you.
in the house.
Yes. So again, very excited to have you on here, Jason. Rewatching this film, I just kind of got into a stony headspace a little bit thinking about this film, and in terms of it's so preposterous, it's so over the top, the 50 plus homicides, the fucking body count this film has. Like, if this were a true story, it would be the most talked about moment in U.S. history. It really would. The fact that one fucking guy killed an entire town. Forget Waco. It would be the events in Death Wish 3 that we talk about.
Lack of due process.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. But
would change history.
Yes. This would be it. This would be the most popular thing of all time. But Jason, I do think of you when I think of this film because it's very video gamey. It feels very much like a side scroller, narc style video game. Yeah. But I know
Side note, it was turned into a video game.
Oh, is it Atari game or some shit?
Yeah, Marcus, help us out real quick. It was a video game.
It was a Commodore 64. I can't remember.
Yeah, there was a Death Wish 3 video game.
That's
anyway
fucked up.
We'll cut to that right now.
Okay, bing.
Yeah,
okay.
It's Commodore. Yeah,
I gotta go to the cut to snap. I think we need those. But I know it's also, Jason, hits your sweet spot in terms of a action film involving fortification. I know you love films where there's fortifying involved. It's an assault on Precinct 13 vibe where people are trying to get into a building that needs to be protected. So tell us a little bit about what this movie means to you, your personal sort of history with, and how it may be inspirational. Death Wish 3.
Yeah. So when I made my first feature film, Hobo with a Shotgun, I was definitely very inspired by Death Wish 3. I still do for all my films is I make like an inspirational reel, like a tone reel where I take clips from a bunch of different movies, and it's a great way to kind of communicate the tone that I'm going for, to tell the crews, this is the vibe I'm trying, the aesthetics, the the action or costuming, anything, that I can kind of grab inspirations from. And with Death Wish, my Hobo with a Shotgun reel was just filled with clips from Death Wish 3. And primarily it was like, I love like just how much graffiti is like, sprinkled across the film. And it's, when we were making Hobo with a Shotgun, we called it like we were making a graffiti Western, and we thought Death Wish 3 was like the best, graffiti Western ever made.
That's cool.
I love like scenes too, where just like something insane is just comes out of nowhere. Like when you see like in the film, there's like guys throwing Molotovs into like a building, and two old people are like on fire running out, and it's just so like chaotic and insane.
Hold on. They throw Molotovs at the old people that they're running outside of the building on fire, but then the punks shoot them like they're like gunning them down as they're on fire. That's the type of movie. Like they're not just on fire burning alive. Let's shoot them while they're burning alive. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because there's no law enforcement anywhere in sight.
Lawless.
No checks and balances. It's a Wild West. As you say.
Yeah.
And I love like scenes in films, and this was also a big inspiration on Hobo, that like when you're seeing big groups of people like on screen, and every time you watch it, you're like, you can notice something, crazy that's like happening in the background. There's just like so much chaos on the screen.
Dude, quick freeze frame on that one. For instance,
I know what you're going to say.
When a bunch of the punks are running out to go get them, like one guy's like, everybody's got a weapon, and then this guy's got like a plunger, like he's like gonna fuck somebody up with a plunger.
It's amazing.
That I always caught that. So that's the kind of deet you're talking about,
Deep
where
cut
like
deep.
there has to be like everyone has to like figure out their character's action in the moment, and this guy just went, there's the plunger right here. That's my lethal weapon.
Rock on.
There's a character in every single person like on the screen, and that's something I strive to do at any time.
They're not just
making
extras.
a movie.
Yeah.
Is that there's like every single person has like their like little thing going on, and every time you watch it, you can notice something different. I love those little details.
Yeah, and it's like knowing you too, and in terms of just the way from working on our show or whatever. I'm rewatching this film, the other day in preparation for this, and I'm seeing shots in the film that I know you're jiving with. You're down with this. Like for example, like right in the beginning, there's an amazing shot, and it's just a cool detail because this film does from time to time have some real nice style, and it has some nice music video-y style, if you will, for lack of a better term. There's one of the first shots in the film, like when you see the gang for the first time, it's this shot where it's very Jason Core, where the camera is perfectly centered on the bike chain as the guy's holding the bike chain, and we're seeing the bike chain pass over the lens as the guys are walking past the camera, and that's very
I love that shot. I've used that shot twice in two separate reels.
See, I knew it.
Movies.
I knew it. I knew that. And then the other shot was the moment when Charles Bronson, he drops his gun and he doesn't. He's without arm for a minute, and then he goes back to find the gun in the trash in the alleyway, and it's great. They just put the camera on the ground in the trash. And you just see the camera kind of just, rock down and then up, with him picking up the gun again. And that's a very like you move, I feel like.
I love that moment too, because you can tell the sun is like coming up too in the background, and they're probably rushing to get that shot.
Right.
It's great. It's kind of framed in a way that no other shots in the movie are framed.
Exactly. So that's why it stood out to me. It's just like very dynamic, music video-y. Let's just fucking get it. Put the camera on the floor. It's very cool. Yeah. Okay, Tom, let's start here just as we open up the craziness of this movie and start to get into it, because there's so many wild and insane set pieces and moments in this movie we gotta hit.
Yes,
but let's talk about
all of it.
Let's talk about the man of the hour, Too Sweet to Be Sour.
this guy.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah. What the fuck is that? Is that his cookbook?
It's, I can't say I've read it, but it's a cheapo paperback from the mid 70s.
Wow.
Where it it says it's an autobiographical portrait of Bronson! Exclamation point. And I just wanted to illustrate that, like, he was huge. And something I just realized today was, like, he was internationally huge, almost like Bruce Lee kind of thing.
Sure.
Like Bronson was huge in Thailand and like Angola. You know what I mean? Like he was this huge international figure, and he just worked for everybody as a tough guy.
Yeah.
And I think part of it's his stoicism.
Yep.
You know, and he had, we were saying before, like kind of the ugly beauty of him.
Yes.
You know, kind of like Belmondo or what is it, Bogart and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't a traditional, handsome leading man,
right?
But he also was a tough, hard guy. Like he was big, and he was a boxer, I believe, in his past. So, he was huge for a long time. And of course, Death Wish, the first one in 1974, was just about his pinnacle, the pinnacle for him in his
huge box office, right? On that film,
in his big years, phenomenon. Yeah. And so, because this is the middle of a franchise, Death Wish 3. Right. There was Death Wish. They followed it up. Same director, right? Michael Winner came back in 1982 with Death Wish 3. Right. And it's Paul Kersey. One of the things I love about this franchise is that he's playing an architect. Yeah. Like never lose sight of that. By the way, shout out to Sebastian O'Brien on that one. Like he's an architect. Yeah. And like the thing is, like they keep dropping it more and more as the films go on. But there would be little parts in the first two movies where he's like, let's work on having a marble awning in the foyer, because that's his day job. Right. He's an architect.
Yeah. Even Bronson, he kind of pointed out that he was miscast in a way, because he thought it should have been more of like a weaker guy.
Oh,
who
an everyman.
Like Straw Dogs,
Oh, yeah, right.
And that kind of thing. But he was already a tough guy,
Yeah, so it's, and he's miscast in the sense of like, he looks like a hard ass architect.
Right.
So anyway, so that's Paul Kersey. Paul Kersey in 82. He like the big thing always is that the law always lets him slide.
Yes.
Like they know he's right there in front of them, and they go, just get out of here. You killed a bunch of people. We're going to look away. Yeah. So they look away in New York in 74. In 82, he pops up. Guess what? Hey, somebody, assaults his daughter. And he's back in action. And he's wandering around LA, picking people off, Yeah. Larry Fishburne, I think, is one of them. So that's a fun one. 82's Death Wish 2 is pretty wild. And Marcus, this is your moment here to shine.
Yes.
Who in the hell is going to do the Death Wish 2 soundtrack?
Yeah,
like some dive kind of like cut rate guy, right?
No, actually, one of the biggest rock stars of all time does the soundtrack. So Jimmy Page.
What?
Crazily
insane.
Does the soundtrack for Death Wish 2.
Insane.
I didn't grow up with this movie. But I did know about the soundtrack forever from reading Hammer of the Gods, written by the Led Zeppelin biography, written by the roadie. Of course, goes into talking about it. But such a weird thing. It was kind of Page bouncing back from Led Zeppelin. So I guess he does the soundtrack to It Rocks. It's kind of bluesy and experimental stuff.
It is cool.
But I guess the way it came down is like he was like next door neighbors with Michael Winner. And so he asked him, like, he asked him to do the soundtrack that way. And Peter Grant said, he'd do it for free. He was just trying to get Jimmy like back working again and inspire him creatively. Yeah,
because John Bonham had passed away. Drugs were in the picture. The band
Led Zeppelin broke up.
Right at the moment when the Led Zeppelin was done.
It was like 81 or something. I think he did like a little bit of a side project with some of the Yes guys, XYZ, where they were going to try to do some stuff, but it didn't work out. Anyway, so I guess Jimmy's like thing was he did the entire soundtrack himself. He said just like he took the movie and like wrote it to the movie,
Awesome.
And which is pretty dope. And just one more thing. There's a track that plays a lot that kind of goes like,
oh, it's great.
Amazing.
A great cue.
Really dope track. That is on the Lucifer. Jimmy Page released like Lucifer Rising tapes.
Oh yeah,
a few years ago, and that was a track an unreleased track for the soundtrack
because Jimmy was the original composer for
Lucifer Rising,
Kenneth Anger film Lucifer Rising. So
shout
the thing,
out,
back to our film.
We got to plug ourselves. Shout out to our Lucifer Rising episode in the library if you want to hear more about that. Sorry,
that's
Tom.
right. That was a Marcus B-Day pick.
It was.
So just getting back to 3 then. So so then it's time to do 3.
Yeah.
And for some reason they just kind of grabbed a bit of the Jimmy soundtrack and then they threw this other kind of like generic
I love
mambo
that
music. And so it's
funk.
reused.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as I like Death Wish 1 and 2.
Sure.
But 3, there's a classic thing, the powers of 3. People have talked like Ninja 3 is particularly insane.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yeah.
So there is this sort of like rule of 3 in sequels where it's just like, all right, 1 exists, it happens, and all right, 2. We'll repeat some things, maybe try some stuff, and then 3 is just let's just go nuts.
Let's
Who
go
cares?
nuts.
Let's go fucking nuts. And this film just goes nuts more than anyone could have expected.
Right.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's it is. There's no reality. There's no architecture in this film.
No.
Let me put it that way. I just
No.
like close that down. Like the architecture days are over in Death Wish movies.
Well, let's just start talking about just maybe how this movie opens, because I think it's once you get to the 3rd entry, it's like, okay, we know what we want now. If you're the Death
Wish movies,
we want to get them in there. We want to get them killing these people as quickly as possible.
Shoot them up.
Move it along. And so the movie, he's fucking on the scene within 3 minutes of the film.
Well, like the synopsis said, it's like. It's not even 5 minutes.
Yeah,
right. He's taking a bus. He's taking a bus to visit his old friend. Get used to me doing bad Charles Bronson. like I'm going to visit my old friend. I'm
Charlie.
taking the bus to the Bronx to visit Charlie.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. But meanwhile, right then, Charlie's being brutally murdered by Alex Winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Who played Bill and Ted.
That's right.
That's right.
Starred in Freaked.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
But one of my favorite aspects of this
Freaked,
scene,
right?
while they're like beating up this like old man, is that it cuts back to like Bronson and where he's at in his stage and trying to get to town. And then it cuts back to the gang beating up the old man, and Alex Winter's character is like asleep on the couch.
I know.
And one of the guys just like slaps him and is like, "Stay awake while we're killing this guy."
Is he
And
like?
It's like so ridiculous. This is a thing that happens so much with this gang that he's just like, is this another day? He's falling asleep.
Or is he like coming down off something, or maybe, or speed?
It's probably
or
both.
Speed
But
crash.
but like you're saying, it's like they're so used to this. It's like, oh, we're killing another old guy again. Like I'm gonna take 5 here, guys.
And
you finish up. Have fun.
Let's talk about that for a second too, because it's so demented. This idea of it's not like an old folks home, but it's kind of a retirement community. They're all living in this project of retirees, and that's who we're fucking up in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's this. It's only seniors and only 16-year-old punk kids, gang members.
Yeah, so it's this crazy thing. And so right off the bat, like, as it's cross-cutting between Charles Bronson coming to East New York to come visit his friend Charlie. Charlie's getting beat up, as we said, but it's brutal. We see him like just pushed through a fucking coffee table. It's like a brutal stunt gag right off the top, and you're like, holy shit, so we're pulling no punches here. But the point is, Bronson is on the scene so fast, and he's very quickly, the whole setup to the film is just as the synopsis said, he's wrongfully accused for the murder, and he's put behind bars, and we're off to the races. This film doesn't stall a second to get us into
because it's the cartoon version of the first 2. And cartoon by meaning just really broad strokes. It's like how about this? Like Death Wish 2, it took a minute for the equivalent Charlie beatdown.
Yes.
Like the film had some paces towards the
some
abuse
exposition,
of
maybe. Or
right, exactly. Yeah, right. It's some architecture.
Yes.
And so this just is like the first scene. So it's almost like pornographic. And what I mean by that is the history of pornography, where in the early days it was like there's plot development and there's tension
story.
and a third act, of porno, and then it just became people fucking.
Yeah.
And it's like porno.
Yeah.
It's not a criticism necessarily.
No.
I'm just saying this film is basically revenge porno.
Yes.
Because it's just cut out the fat and just go.
Yes, exactly.
Though, and we'll get to it later as one of the big great set pieces, there is a little stab at it being a real film with a little bit of love interest.
Oh, we're rounding.
That's like 20 minutes right there.
We're rounding the bend on that very soon.
Just saying, yeah. But otherwise, yes, it's just so whittled down.
Yes. Something I wanted just to open up as a topic for everybody here. So he gets into prison, and of course, he comes face to face with the film's arch villain, or his arch villain in the film, the main guy, Manny Fraker, who's sporting the Peter Gabriel inverted mohawk.
Reverse mohawk with a big, and if you got a reverse mohawk, it's got to be thin, the space in the center, and it has to have a red like streak of paint going through it, right. Which is evocative of like. See, the thing is, it's like, and I'm so glad you brought up the punk book. It's like it's like old British men who have no idea what punk aesthetics and looks are, so they're just like, aren't punks wearing? Wouldn't you have like a lot of paint?
Yeah,
like, there's always a lot of paint.
You're misguided.
It's sort of like class of '84, 1984.
Yes,
the reverse mohawk is like it's like a butt part too. Like almost like alfalfa got like a reverse mohawk. It's like slicked down and
right.
But
also just to really drill down on like our lead antagonist here. Yeah, he doesn't look right because he looks like kind of like a sweet faced like Irish man.
He does.
He's not like he doesn't have any kind of like grit to his face. He just looks like he's too clean looking and almost like a ginger kind of.
Sort of the Opie ginger gang leader.
Yes, it's like Opie, reverse mohawk Opie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because people complain these days about like forced diversity and stuff in movies, but it's like this is one of those we've invented nothing. I know this isn't the first one because The Warriors does it too with like the diverse gang or whatever.
Totally,
but like you've got like the multicultural gang members together.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they're doing a cheap thing where like, and this is a classic kind of like reactionary right wingish kind of thing. Like the film's coming from that general vicinity, right wing. But it's like, oh, if we made the lead guy a black guy, the leader of the gang was like a black guy, that would be, they would be like, ooh, they're too hot, so we'll take some steam off things. And a lot of the gang is black and Puerto Rican, but like it's like a big, huge, gingery, like don't go in the sun too long, white guy.
Right. That makes it okay, right?
Yeah, it makes it like, oh, it's all right.
It's weird. The tradition of these films in America is so weird. There's just so many of them, like Rolling Thunder, Vigilante, Cape Fear, Straw Dogs.
Well, as I've always said,
you know?
revenge is one of the primal emotions.
Yes.
Sorry. You know? You can always count on it. Resonate with people.
Sure.
Yeah. So I guess it feels like American too, just going back to the Wild West cowboy days. I mean, this film and Death Wish, the original one, explicitly made
graffiti
the connection.
Western.
Right. They explicitly made the connection with cowboy movies in the original Death Wish movie.
And guess what? Bronson did Leone film.
Oh, yeah.
Sergio Leone. He's a lot of Westerns.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. There's like a little nod to it, I think. Like, I don't know if you remember, there's this little detail where Bronson sets up like a trap like under a window where he puts a bunch of nails like through a board.
It's the best.
And lays it underneath the window. And as he leaves the room, it like the camera pans and it zooms up on a painting. And it's
do I remember?
It's a Frederick Remington painting called like the Fourth Troops moving, the horses or something.
Cavalry.
Yeah, and
Jason, you're in the right place because, like we said today, this show is detail core.
Yeah,
and yes, I really picked up on that because there's not only an unnecessary like zoom over and then holding shot of him passing the painting and then a close up of the painting. There's also a music cue of like da, 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 da. Like a cavalry charge. It's like I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
This is for like brain dead reactionary grandpa, like that's right, get those suckers.
Yeah, there's like
tell him Charlie.
There's like a little moment too later on where like the chief of police comes over to the apartment and there's like a cockroach like crawling up on the wall. And mashes the cockroach, so ridiculous.
We gotta wipe out the scourge.
I know.
There's like three cockroach squashes.
There is. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a total
it's so like Mexican kind of like comic book kind of like
it is. Very
and remember I was saying before, just last thing, it's just like, remember he was very big internationally. I think that this film probably, and at least could have in their mind when they made it it could have played any part of the world.
Well,
it's so universal.
We're bearing the lead here. This is a canon film. Okay, this is financed and distributed by Golden Globus with Canon Films. So they're making it for every market,
Yes, exactly.
Everybody's going to get a piece of this.
I don't know the exact history. Maybe you guys do, but like in the Ebert review, which of course, spoiler alert, they hated it.
He loved it, right?
He loved it.
No, but they're talking about how they're being very cynical about it. But one thing they said was that the third movie came back because of this vigilante in New York was like a hot topic at the time.
Huh.
So
interesting.
Is that true? I mean, you guys
Maybe.
They got that wrong. Yeah, they got that wrong.
I've heard that too, where like they supposedly rushed this movie into theaters to capitalize on it. They didn't even like color correct the film at first when they first released it. But yeah, it was like this guy who who killed like 4 teenagers on the subway.
Oh wow!
But yeah, they compared him to
Bronson,
to the Bronson character in Death Wish.
Interesting.
And, so they had to
capitalize on this.
Yeah, and they got asked so much about it in the press. Like there's interviews with Bronson talking about it, and he's like, I don't know anything about what's going on in his mind, but I can tell you what's going on in my mind.
Really?
Wow.
Well, see, can we maybe there's a lot of perspectives on this film in a way, like not to take it seriously, but just, I grew up in New York, and like New York was crazy. We all know that. New York was going to go bankrupt in 77, the blackout. The blackout, hip hop exists because of the blackout, because everyone just emptied all the hi-fi stores of stereos and turntables and stuff.
Insane.
You know what I mean? Really. So it's like, so there was an authentic lawlessness in the air in New York City. I mean, that's just famous. That's where punk was stewing and all that.
Sure.
So it's a little later by 85, but still New York was really getting close to like unmanageable and sort of lawless. Like, taking the subway in New York City in the 80s, you were taking your life in your hands, and anything canon would happen. I saw some incredible, insane shit.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, but what's funny to me is that like there's the reality, but then this absurd cartoonish pumping up, and I'm so glad you mentioned it. That's attributable to Golden Globus, where it's just like they take it to 11.
Yeah,
like there's real feelings and sentiments, and there really is kind of like urban blight and urban dread. But the film is so laughable.
Yes.
And that's what I want to get into this, the set piece core of how laughable and broad it all is. So can I introduce one of them?
Sure.
Just the Jewish couple.
Yes.
Let's fucking go.
Yes. Well, it is just amazing that this film, in terms of perspective, is just a kind of, here's a preamble for the Jewish couple, is, we're seeing violent scenes of Charles Bronson shooting holes in people and explode.
He shot the giggler.
You shooting the giggler, bro?
They killed the giggler, man. They killed the giggler!
And all this stuff, and we're always cutting to like Martin Balsam just being like, oh yeah, there he goes again, that guy.
You go get him. No, and like and then like there's the little kid, there are nice neighbors in the neighborhood, but they're quiet and they're like docile because they're under the rule of the gang members. But there's this little black kid who's just like, right on, Charles Bronson.
Yeah, right on, man.
That's
what I mean.
It's almost like Sesame Street or something, like
exactly.
the neighborhood, which is funny because Maria is from Sesame Street is in the first Death Wish.
Oh, whoa.
But anyway, it does feel like that. The whole neighborhood, like it's in this contained area too. It feels like when they are shooting in London or whatever, it has this sort of like one set that you're in for the whole rest of the movie, which is just like Sesame Street.
And it's the somehow it's like somehow everything winds up being in this dirt center. It isn't even like like an intersection of the street.
I know.
It's just like this big open area surrounded by tenements, and everyone's just looking out. And yes, so what I'm vibing on is like, one of the things I was picking up on was like under discussed, which is the cartoonish Sesame Streetishness of the public going like, right on, Charles, and like they're like cheering, and it's like a lingering cheering scene of people outside their tenement windows, and like Martin Balsam kind of going like you go get those suckers.
Yeah, as soon as he shoots that guy in the back, whatever, right? They're immediately like cheering, like good shot. Like
I know,
right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, because the cartoonishness, because that's cartoonish, because the gang is so cartoonishly insanely bad, and there's no one stopping. They're with impunity.
Yes,
they're like raping and shooting and murdering and stealing from everyone.
Right.
24/7.
I know.
Doesn't she say like
constantly?
That guy gets killed, and she's like, he stole my radio or something like that, right? Like,
To my radio last week.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
He's dead now. That's good.
Now he's dead.
No, there's a gang guy who comes into the old Jewish couple.
Yeah.
And he goes, "We're gonna come in here wherever we want, and you can't stop." It's so broadly drawn where he's just articulating the great fear.
Yes.
Like, we rule your life, and we're gonna come in here whenever we want and do whatever we want and take whatever we want.
Let's not also, we should say that, their apartment, the old Jewish couple, their apartment is on the ground floor. That's definitely where you don't want to be, if you're living there.
I love that moment where like Charles comes over after and builds a trap for them with the board that comes up, and as he's like explaining it, like how the nail works, there's like the soundtrack has like chimes like getting hit.
This is how it works.
It's like chimey moment.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, it's so over the top, but
nice little touch. Yeah.
It's just like gleefully like getting like into like all that stuff, and I'd be so curious to see what it was like when, because Michael Winner's like, he edits all his movies as well too, but he goes by like a different name. I think it goes by Arnold Crust.
Whoa.
So he's probably like, digging out like all these little weird, like taking the old Jimmy Page like soundtracks.
Well, and the
right.
cue and stuff. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That.
Well, so just the whole building of the trap thing is such an amazing, fun part of this. The idea of, elderly people taking matters into their own hands by building traps for punks that are coming into their house. I mean, that is why the 80s cinema is great.
It's a funny movie trope. I mean, like we were talking about in the bonus step, how it goes back to like Most Dangerous Game. They're doing that, building traps out in the woods. But Predator building traps, Lost Boys building traps.
Sure.
There's some delight that we get in
trap. But I think part of it though is like the cockroach killing that the cop does. I think it's kind of like they're making their own little like roach motels.
Yeah,
like they're doing this dehumanizing thing where it's like. Like whatever it takes, just like oh, we got to get rid of these. We got rodents now, so like we got to get those like glue traps.
Right.
That's analogous to like the dehumanizing of the gang.
Isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it like they're off doing something, or they're sitting down at dinner or something, and the trap goes off, right? And then they go check the trap.
The one with the car.
No. Okay.
He's saying they're having the nice Jewish family's having the nice Jewish dinner where he's like, that's really good goulash or whatever. And like they hear like a kunk, and then the Jewish couple and then the Bronson go out to the trap he had laid earlier, this alternate one from the nails. And they look, and strangely they see someone left. There's a trail of blood. And on the board, there's 2 sets of teeth.
Yes.
And Bronson has this great wry smile because they're wondering what that is. And
what are those?
He's like, teeth.
What are those? Teeth.
As only Charles Bronson could do.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
amazing. That's one of his only like. He doesn't get a lot of one-liners either. He's usually just kind of like. He doesn't have enough one-liners for me actually, because like Schwarzenegger's always like stick around, or you hear like someone go like, check's been cashed or something, but it'll cut to him and he's just blankly staring at the camera.
Crazy.
That's Charles Bronson.
But it is so crazy by the third film, like the dehumanizing of killing people. It's just this gleeful, as you said, Jason, exercise, and everyone else who's in the vicinity, who's on his side, of course, is just so down for it to such a crazy, playful level, and it's very disturbing to see.
It is very, the reaction shots like purpose is to kind of like help the audience understand how to feel, right? So Michael Winner wants us just to be delighted every time
everyone gets shot.
I don't know about that. I think he's just what he's trying to do is connect with like the base emotions. Like if you saw this in the Bronx in 1985, you would be like, fuck yeah, like relief. Like there's because people, the thing is, it's not only, this film isn't just revenge. It's like finally the cavalry, like we're saying, is here to save us. He's our savior. He's actually taking action because we've been under the thumb of this thing explicitly and just in the general, like dreary tone of our lives. We're being oppressed, So he's like this sweet savior relief, and it's playing on emotions in the audience that I think it's just pressing buttons that are right there.
And
they need something.
It's very like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone, where it's like one of his traps work, and then you get that moment of like
bliss.
It pulled off,
Yes.
and the audience has a moment to have a lot of fun
to appreciate the mechanism
Yes.
and getting it to work. But there's so many films of this era too that play on what you're saying, Tom, right? Of just the sort of like revenge button, it's just something I guess that just translates very well into film. I mean, you had films like Fighting Back, with Tom Skerritt, if you've ever seen that film.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's always
Vigilante.
or Vigilante, of course, Bill Lustig.
Love it.
And
Tenement.
Tenement's
That's
very
a sick
good.
one.
That's a really good
Love
one.
Tenement.
But
It's basically they're trying to outdo Death Wish 3 in a way.
But there's always like but there's always like a inciting incident. There's like an inciting incident that takes place that's supposed to get you as the viewer on the side of the vigilantism. Like Savage Streets is a really crazy one where they have like they throw a pregnant woman over like a freeway overpass,
right,
or something.
Well, in this film, it is they have the nice Hispanic couple.
Yes, that's it.
And they do abuse and kill this nice, like a newlywed woman. And that really is where that's supposed to be our tipping point.
What's the line?
Although the film is so cartoonish, they're constantly abusing and killing people. The gang.
What's weird is like I think there's a difference because some movies that in the same genre there are moments of reflection where like you're sort of meditating on the horrificness of it, like Taxi Driver is like that, right? Where you're like, oh, that's like he went a little too far there, or Miss 45 or something. Like she took it too far, and you see the gruesomeness, and it's sort of like a warning tale. Don't be a vigilante,
Yes.
But this movie
Cautionary
is just
tale,
like go for it, like, and there's no ruminating on the horrificness of what
it's the way to go. And and they do totally dehumanize the gang. But here's the thing: we're talking about humanizing and dehumanizing. Now, this character, Charles Bronson as Kersey, he's a human being. He's not always shooting people. Sometimes he needs a little TLC, right?
A little.
You were gonna give me that cherry pie, sweet mama baby.
That's right. Paul Kersey needs loving too.
Yes.
So this film gives what I think is the slimmest, lamest love interest ever. It's short. It's abortive. It doesn't go anywhere. It ends in death. And but it's so fun. We're gonna go through frame by frame the love scenes of Death Wish 3.
Yeah, so Karen Davis is the character's name, and I guess she's like a public defender. I'm guessing.
Yeah, sure.
She's a public defender, and
he defended him when he was accused of murder.
Right, exactly. And
should mention that his real life wife was the love interest in the last movie.
Okay,
in Death Wish 2.
Jill Ireland. Yeah.
Okay, right. But in this fucking setup here, obviously we mentioned earlier, Charles Bronson is in his 60s. He's like 64 when this film is. I'm not trying to.
No, and his face, honestly, frankly, it's got a lot of rough road.
It's a road, a lot of miles traveled there. A lot of death etched into the face of that man. Yeah. But she basically comes up to him, and immediately it's this like. She's coming onto him very hard.
Yes. She's like she's ready to go with Charles, and she's like 25 years old or something. And it's a huge, glaring, insane mismatch. Now, okay, so here's the scene. We're going to do this. So now this scene opens where he visits her apartment with a nice bottle of white wine. And for some reason,
this is the
establishing shot of her apartment that he's visiting is like a cheap, like Nagel painting. That guy did like the Duran Duran album cover kind of thing. For some reason,
salon art.
Salon art. So for some reason, our guy here, Michael Winter, goes, let's establish her world with like a Nagel painting.
Yep.
And then he walks in and she's finishing up dinner. She's making dinner for them.
Sure.
And she's making chicken. And Paul, there's a nice close-up shot of him, a tortured moment where Charles Bronson's trying to somehow render a coy, romantic, interest, and he's just talking about the chicken, and I like chicken. Chicken is good, you know. And it's just so awkward and wrong.
Chicken's good. I like chicken.
And thoughts?
I mean, it's, you know, he's at the end of his desirability. He's at the tail end of it, which is, you know, unfortunate. You know, and it's just really? it's so completely inauthentic, right? And that's what's campy about it. Mm-hmm. You're watching it and it's humorous because it's laughable that someone like this would go so far out of her way to pursue him, to ask him out on a date, to invite him over to her house.
It's all her.
It's all wrong.
She's making all the moves. Yeah.
He also looks out of place in the 80s. You know, he's got this like kind of like the 70s holdover mustache. It's like almost like a Beatles cut or something. He's like, not only is he older, he looks out of fashion.
Yeah, he's like 30 years older than her.
40.
Then again, I will say this in the reality of Death Wish 3, and no one is going over any of this, I guarantee you. In the reality of Death Wish 3, I'm going to go there for a second.
Okay.
She's rendered somewhat as a sensitive person.
Okay.
And she sees something in Paul Kersey, the architect. Right. She sees that he's kind of wounded. That he's got kind of a sad-souled person, but she finds a connection with him, and maybe she's a little damaged, and like they're bonding because she's not like a cocktail waitress who's like, I want a piece of that guy. Like she's kind of like nerdy. She's not dressed up 80s.
Well, what would have been good?
So the other trope is that she's like the glasses nerd type who takes it off.
Well, nerd,
beauty, you know.
Well, but I just mean like she looks like an adult woman who maybe has like more complex emotions, and so there's a possibility that she could find him engaging because she's finding that he's a deep person. Because he also doesn't talk much, which can be kind of attractive and sexy for a woman.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's also funny to think that he's out there like, you know, stalking the nights, like killing strangers, and then that he could
it's kind of like romantic
dinner with
like,
somebody.
Well, that's what we're saying.
It's kind of like
I can't kill tonight. I got to get some chicken.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of
with my lady friend.
It's kind of
so
Maniac.
Let's just finish this up. So
it's kind of like Maniac.
It's just
thank you.
Maniac.
Okay, thank you.
You are on it. You got the line of the day.
You were gonna
give that guy all the drops he wants. That's great.
Thank you.
It's exactly like Maniac. So anyway, I'm gonna play this through. So because we're gonna move on to the carnage again. So he likes chicken. That's established with that shot. Then they're finishing dinner. They're having white wine. They talk. He's talking about how he's he's a widow and stuff like that. Then she starts getting kind of right wing, like somebody's got to do something about the streets.
Damn it, people have got to start to fight back and hard. The whole thing is just, it's out of balance.
Which comes out of nowhere. And he's like, I know what you mean, baby. And they hump. But before that, there's the infamous kiss, right? That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly weird, awkward, tight close-up where like he approaches her and it looks like so like court-ordered like kiss. You know what I mean? Like she it doesn't have a natural chemistry organic body language thing. It's just like stand here with your mouth. Like Charles is going to come into the mouth with that weird mustache and go like, I'm looking at a still of it right now.
She found out like 5 minutes before that they had to do that for the day.
It's like anti-chemistry like on the screen.
He looks like he's got coffee breath or something.
A1 barbecue sauce breath.
Like cigarette breath, dude. Like cigarette breath. In the mustache.
My favorite detail in that scene, we skipped it a little bit, is
please, let's go.
After like she tells him like the only thing I know how to cook is chicken, and he's like, chicken's good. Okay. I like chicken.
Chicken's
cuts to like a shot of just a mangled corpse of a chicken.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
It's all devoured. It's weirdly lit.
It's the chicken that he liked.
I didn't even know what that was.
There's 4 lines in the whole movie.
But it's like the punchline to that line. He fucking really loves chicken.
Yeah,
he devoured it.
Can I talk about that for a second?
Chicken? He murked that chicken.
Let me talk about that.
So the punchline is though, the next scene she dies in an exploding car. You know.
Yes, she does.
Yeah,
because this is Death Wish 3.
But let me talk about this because there is some weird. Well, Jason, you mentioned that Michael Winner's editing this. There is some kind of inept editing in this film.
Yeah,
and I'm going to say it's inept, but I do think it actually 40 years later has some interest. It's interesting. Okay.
It does. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's got some rough edges to it that I appreciate. It's not perfect.
No.
And everyone wants to be perfect, with editing.
This
is not at all.
Here's a good example of that. Okay. The scene earlier on in the film when Bronson is buying the car, the cutting of the buying the car scene is very jagged and jumpy, and very weird.
How are you going to pay for it? Cash.
But then there's also like when he comes back after buying the car and he's like talking to Martin Balsam and he's like, something smells good. And it's like jump cut to, the Jewish couple and we're at dinner with the Jew. It's so graceless.
I'll introduce you. Come on. Well, these are the Kaprovs. It's Eli, Erica.
We probably had to like cut out 20 minutes right there, bing. And just, it adds this like jagged, weird.
Yeah. It's like
vibe.
surgery with an axe or something.
Yeah. Right, a screwdriver. Yeah.
I like that scene when he's buying the car and the guy's like, how do you want to pay? And he's just like, with cash.
Yeah.
And it's and it's got this crazy music sting on
That's
it.
That's it. But let me.
Things. It's like the Bronson Riz. It's like this motherfucker pays with cash. It's establishing that he's the man.
And I think there's like the scene where he meets the kid and the kid gives him the thing. It's like he all of a sudden just shows up next morning in like a leather coat with it opened up and he's like looking more cool.
Yeah. Real quick, just before we get off of Catherine Davis, of course she dies, but something you were saying earlier about her character, not to rewrite this film, but something that could have been more interesting with that character is, and it could have thrown to the architect concept, is the idea of
fanfic.
This is some fanfic here, but like imagine she's sees that side of him, the architect. Maybe he's doodling in prison and he can see this amazing new building. Okay. She sees that. Oh, and then she becomes instead of the woman who's trying to embolden him to kill people, to become a serial murderer, what if she's trying to pull him out of the world?
Yes. Get back to the blueprints and the drafts. Yes. Paul Kersey.
And then she dies, but then that's the thing, of course, that sets him on this psychopathic killing spree, which we should get to. Because the movie, he shoots a couple people, he gets the big gun, he's doing this stuff, but then he gets a fucking automatic, like World War II, like fucking minigun. What is that?
I don't know.
Handheld.
Yeah.
Bazooka. It's a bazooka.
Gun turret.
I think it's close to like a bazooka. Whatever we think that
there's a bazooka he gets in the mail, which is crazy.
It's easy. That makes sense.
Well, you can do that now, probably. But the machine gun, right? That's the one that's he's holding the barrel and it's like
he's just fucking tearing through people. Again, cutting to the reactions of the old people from that, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, great! He's got the machine gun."
They're not scared, like they're not ducking for cover.
No, it's great, marvelous.
This is good.
Yeah, and but like for that final battle scene, which is relentless. It goes on 25 minutes.
Yeah. It's that really is the video game of the movie.
It is. It's nonstop. Yeah. Well, it really gets video game when the cop shows up and it becomes a buddy shootout. Where both the guys reunite, the cop who's kind of allowing Kersey to do this, and they're just kind of like back to back shooting people,
buddy movie kind of time,
buddy movie shit. That's amazing. But yeah, it is crazy, and just the energy of the film when it just descends into pure chaos with just like crazy set piece after the next. It's really where the film puts all of its money, is right there. And it feels almost like it reminded me of Dawn of the Dead a little bit, like when the bikers show up.
Yes.
And it just like totally just.
Well, it becomes like Dawn of the Dead, like urban warfare cinema.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like 1990 Bronx Warriors.
Sure. Yeah, I love that film.
Yeah.
And that's where like every time you watch it, you'll notice something like different, like someone doing something crazy like in the background. I like love that moment where the guy like swings the chain and it looks so brutal. He's like smashing this guy with the chain, and there's like a dude in the background with a bullhorn, just some bullhorn in his mouth.
Oh, I never caught that. Check that out.
You have to go rewind that
dude in the background.
Yeah, rewind.
You know what? There's another lead bearing I think we should address, and it was only mentioned glancingly.
Sure.
So this film, where is this film set? The Bronx, the South Bronx.
No,
East
it's set in East New York, which would be Brownsville.
Right. Yeah. That's true. You're right. You're right. East New York. Rough, New York City boroughs. But where was it shot?
It was
London
shot
town.
London.
Jolly old London town.
Yeah,
right. So there's this very strange.
Yeah.
It's almost getting like Eyes Wide Shut kind of thing.
Totally.
Where it's like it's familiar, but it's way off. Like and the distances of the streets. Yeah. And like I was saying earlier, like streets don't even exist. It's more just like there's a building that's stuck in the middle of just a large field. You know what I mean? Like the grid of a New York City. Yeah. You never see it in this film. It's just this wide open space.
I know. There's like a bodega in the middle of a field.
Yeah, exactly. So that's very, like dream logic disorienting. Yes. Because it's creating a distance that's like it was not shot in the Bronx or East New York, whatever. Yeah. And like so and nothing, and the things the buildings don't get too high either.
No.
So it's like low with like
see the sky pretty good.
Yeah, like low dirt fields.
Well, that's kind of what it's like over there, but yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But the other thing is I've noticed that a lot of back to the casting is they definitely like read as more Britishy to me.
Sure.
Like there's like I think they implanted some American people, like we were saying, Alex Winter and a couple other people, but that's just like a British cast of like ballet dancers and shit. You know what I mean? Like they look kind of weird.
Oh, the guy. There's that one guy.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
You're going to say.
Yes. There's like the black guy with the dreads, and he's got like a waist that's literally this.
He's got like a dancer's body.
He's a dancer's body, and he's like,
And
he's probably like
he's
a
the
theater
guy
actor.
Yeah, he's totally like theater,
What
like
is
Hamilton, like regional play.
Crazy.
He's the guy who's like, we come in here whenever we want. Like that guy. And and then there's like this obvious like Rastafarian guy.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things at the very end of the film. Speaking of this through line that we've been having about like the right on, like the good guys reaction. There's this great scene that is so stupid. It really is like for children. It's like for like first graders. Like the victory over all the gang members. They're all dead mostly, and then the street people are like right on, and like then they just stare down the few remaining gangsters, and like one guy just holds for a second. He kind of like limply like throws up like a chain. He's like this dreadlock guy. And then this girl, of course, with face paint and like red hair, she just like gestures like no.
Yeah, right.
Holding the chain, like no.
Yeah,
and it's just like what I'm finding trouble. Like it's like Sesame Street or like.
Well, it's like the all right, like it's time to go home. Pack it in, guys. Like,
but it's like the rendering is like for kids.
It is.
Like,
it is. Yeah.
Like children.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
They all collectively agree at the this is over.
Exactly.
We're going to turn our life. We're going to go the other way.
Yeah,
Maybe turn
exactly.
our life around.
After school
and
special.
And execute with pantomime too, just like you said, just her doing the hand.
It's just a gesture. Like, but again, this is supposed to play in Taiwan and Angola and stuff. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does make sense when you put it that way.
Yeah, like nonverbal.
Why the script is so sparse. Yeah.
There's back to the mayhem of that last action scene. There's a moment, I don't know if you caught, where there's like a stunt guy on top of a building and it's on fire, and he's like trying to get ready to like jump off, and apparently you see him, he jumps off and he falls like really far down, and he lands behind like a cop car or something. And he was supposed to hit like a bunch of boxes, but apparently he blames the director for cranking the fire flames up too high, and so he couldn't see where his landing spot was, and he missed it completely, and he like broke his legs and broke his back.
God damn it.
And he said that Michael Winters came to the hospital with press and photographers to follow him to go visit the stunt performer, and he laid in bed and whispered into the ear of the stunt guy, and he says, "You can never sue me." And
wow,
like
threatening this wounded man,
just like apparently like Alex Winters talks a lot about working with him on in the documentary Electric Boogaloo,
right,
about the history of Cannon films.
Yeah,
and he talks about how like Michael was like completely demented,
insane,
and that's partly why the energy in the film is
so
just
manic,
so crazy. Is because that guy was actually crazy.
I mean,
too.
it's so like
he's bad news.
Yeah, he's bad news. But like the whole like energy of creating a set piece where it's urban warfare, right? It's machine guns blazing, Molotov cocktails going out, but then they're still trying to rape women, like while all that's going on is so insane. It's like while all of the, it's just like, that's just the kind of on 11, he has this film. It's just like, what the fuck?
It is that sort of weird. It's that weird sort of a contrasting intentions with the nudity and the graphic and all the rapes and nudities that happen in these series of films. Where it's like it's trying to like hit you with like, oh, these people are so awful, make you feel for the victims. But it's also the exploitation thing where it's also titillating, and it's like constant boob shots and stuff.
Yeah,
that is always such a weird. Contrast or, for me watching these kind of films where like, I don't know how they're trying to make me feel. And you make just kind of second guess that goes back the creator's
to
intentions. And
well, that
it's sleaze. I mean,
exploitation. That goes back to the 1800s,
Maniac, 1934.
Yeah. the pulp magazines,
talked about that.
Yeah.
No, totally.
And it's like he's trying to create like this totally depraved, nightmarish, hellish world.
Yes.
It's like Charles Bronson in hell, like fighting demons, basically. And then, like a Western, in the end, he like walks off to the next town to go.
Save that the town folk. There's a trope that I like in this film where there's plenty of scenes, and again, this is that furtive, like feverish mind of like middle-aged, like rich people who have no idea about how urban life works. They always have scenes where it's like a huge congregation. I guess this is post the Warriors, but like a huge congregation where they're like making like a powwow,
a declaration,
like making plans and like we have a new vice president of leadership of the drug dealing, and like you know what I mean, like taking care of business, nightly. And then like they all get, and it's all organized. So it's like, all right, guys, in about 10 minutes, we're all going to go out and rob and rape everybody. So are we ready? We have our plunger. We good? And it's just like, I enjoy that kind of thing,
Yeah. It's just crazy, man. It's so crazy. And, like the film, again, it's been a long time since I had seen it. Maybe 10 years since I'd seen this film last.
Yeah, same here.
And watching it, I couldn't quite remember what the finish was on the main bad guy. I couldn't remember how they put him down. And of course, this film isn't going to, they're going to deliver. They're not going to under-deliver on that. They're not going to underwhelm.
Because he's the ultimate bad guy.
He's the ultimate bad guy. It's a great set piece.
Archetypal villain.
It's a great set piece where, the cop comes in as Charles Bronson's reloading and saves, of course, Bronson from getting shot by, the main bad guy. And then, and just shoots him into the corner. But of course, he's wearing the bulletproof vest.
Yep. False finish,
right? False finish. And then he comes up and he's going to kill him. But then, of course, we got the rocket launcher right conveniently in the right there. And bam, blows his ass out the fucking wall, bitch.
And that's what gets the crowd of the good guys out.
Yes.
Because they're seeing the remnants of the blasted forward into the middle of the street corpse. That's charred, burning of the reverse Mohawk McGillicuddy, our bad guy, and then they all just kind of like surround it. And I was thinking when I was rewatching, I was like, how do they know exactly that's reverse Mohawk? Because all I'm seeing is like black cinders.
I don't know.
His girlfriend like screams immediately as soon as the explosion happens.
Oh, because she
knew what happened.
He was in there.
Tony, or whatever. Yeah. No, I know. But that is it. I mean, like the main baddie's gone, and then that's where the Sesame Street neighborhood comes out in force.
The kind of after school special moment.
And then this is another thing where it just shows you totally. This is also another indication. The very last shot of the film, it just shows you how cheap and crude and how whittled down to pure crass entertainment. What's the note the film ends on? He just fucking walks away.
I know. He walks away.
He doesn't say anything. He doesn't relate to anyone.
Nope.
he's got his bag. He's
no
like,
thank
I'm
yous. I'll see you later, Martin Balsam. No, like it's I'm gonna walk away, and then of course that's paired with like nerdy ass Fletch music. It's like as he's walking away. It's like, oh my god. Yeah,
it's such a tacky product. And actually, let's not forget this is 3.
Yes.
Then there was 4.
Crazy.
Death Wish 5.
Yes.
And this is why I mentioned this film that we should do it, because I was watching all the Death Wishes once recently, and it's so fun because the thing is with 4, I just give a hint at like where this franchise is going. They cut the budget a lot, and they cut the energy, and everything goes down like a lot with 4.
Yeah. Well, you know
5,
what?
Like diminished rewards.
You know what I heard about that is I'm pretty sure it says here in the Destroy All Movies book that famously Charles Bronson hated this film. And I think he hated the film, and he hated working with Michael Winner. Because does Michael Winner come back for 4? I don't think
Probably not, but I'm not sure.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
So.
Yeah, okay. So I think it was kind of like this is getting out of hand. This is stupid, and I think he saw that it was super hammy and lackluster and hated it.
He saw everything where
he's probably embarrassed by it.
Yeah. He's seeing everything that's like making us glow here, and like even do this whole episode.
I know.
Yeah. Like the absurd camp of it all.
He thought the movie was making. Yeah, he thought the movie was making him look lame. Like, because I heard Alex Winter talk about it.
Okay.
And there's that scene where Alex like jumps on the hood of the car, and then Charles Bronson hits him with the lead pipe, and apparently they were shooting that scene like for 4 or 5 hours, making him do it over and over. And Charles just wouldn't hit him with the lead pipe. And apparently Michael Winner walked up after 4 hours to Charles, and he's just like, Charles, or sir, could you please just hit this kid so we can all go home? And he said, I can't. He looks like a choir boy. This is going to make me look lame.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
little wrestling psychology there. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. And he didn't like using machine gun. He thought that made him look really ridiculous as well too.
Yeah. Wow.
So he begrudgingly did 3 because the tone of 4 and 5, and he did a lot of other films around that time, like Kinjite and The Evil That Men Do.
10 Seconds.
Anyway, there's more great 80s Bronson is a sweet spot. I highly recommend any and all the films, including 3.
All right. Well, that's it. Death Wish 3.
We did it.
All right. We did it. Thanks, everybody. That was one fucking hour.
The 30s are over. We've burned the sage.
Yeah, that is
clear the room.
That is definitely sage burning for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was it. 1 fucking hour on Death Wish 3. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jason. That was awesome, man.
Thank you guys.
Great to have you.
Yeah, man. We'll have
fun.
We'll have you back.
Perfect film to join us on.
Yes.
And, we'll have you back for 10 to Midnight fan.
Ooh, yeah, I love that film.
Well, I
love that film. I love Mr. Majestic. That's probably my favorite.
I was just rewatching that. Yeah, that's a good one.
That actually auto played next after Death Wish 3 when I was watching it. So
cool.
On Tubi.
Yeah,
Tubi.
so I was just gonna say, like, this era of like canon films too is an era I'm very fond of and have a lot of nostalgia for. And while I was rewatching the movie today, and I looked up some clips from Electric Boogaloo, it made me think. I was thinking about, there's that new show with Seth Rogen called The Studio.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, if they were to do a sequel, another season, if they just went back in time and did one about Golan and Globus, canon film era, like
they wouldn't believe it. Yeah, they wouldn't believe it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It was a wild place. All right, well let's just commit to like another bite at the Golden Globus apple sooner than later.
Yeah,
I would love to.
I'm sure that Jason would love to come on and do
let's
Siege.
make a short list.
I know Siege is a big film for you.
I was going to mention Siege during this too. It's got definitely...
Have you seen Siege, Tom, before?
I can't say. Is that Canadian?
Canadian, yeah.
I have, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very.
I've seen it in a long time.
It's the Canadian Assault on Precinct 13. They say.
Right.
Yes, it's very interesting.
In the meantime, Golden Globus fans can check out our episode on Last American Virgin.
That's right. That's right.
A great episode.
And on the Patreon, also up on the Patreon, we have a bonus episode we did on our favorite Canon films. So if you want to hear us talking more about Canon,
we did mention Death Wish 3 back then.
We did. So, but that's a good time to plug the Patreon. Patreon.com/onefuckinghour is where you can get all of our bonus eps, audio commentary tracks, and the like. But Tom, we got a big bonus episode. We just put up our new 30s bonus episode, but we got an even bigger bonus episode coming up. You want to plug it?
Yes, it's been very messy and very crazy, and we had an April Fool's prank backfire on us, with like black smoke on our face. We were saying, haha, what if we did Pizza Man, Bill Maher's Pizza Man, right? Bill, real time to get real, Club Random Bill. One of his few films, I was looking up his filmography, and he didn't really make any more movies after this.
No, I think that turned him off to movies.
This was it. This was like his final leading man thing.
Movies turned off to him, I think.
Right. Exactly.
So what are we doing?
So the thing is, we did it as a joke. We thought, haha, isn't it absurd to do an hour on this movie from 1991, Pizza Man, starring Bill Maher? And then we internally were like, I don't know, like, could be kind of fun. And then people were like, oh, you guys aren't doing it? You're doing, we're doing another 30s movie instead.
Fail.
It's a prank. And fail, I don't know. It's just like, I think we all learned some lessons that this is how far one fucking hour can go.
People are willing to go with us.
Yeah, let's go this far.
Hell yeah.
1991 and a Bill Maher noir parody,
a Maher noir
satire.
Film Maher. Maher noir.
Maher noir.
Bill Noir.
So to the point, beyond an hour, we're going to have a classic pizza party.
We're going big.
We're going big. We're going to watch the entire film of Pizza Man.
Yes.
With you guys. Let's join us.
Yes.
You order a pizza, have it arrive when you start to watch. Start to watch when you get the pizza arrive. We're going to have pizza. We're going to be eating it here like it's 2020.
Yep.
We're all going to be like, lockdown mode, eating pizza in our different places.
Right.
We're going to watch this whole film. We're going to talk about the film somewhat. I found it sort of sideways, surprisingly somewhat interesting. But the conversation will probably devolve into lots of talk about Bill Maher.
Bill Maher noir. Yep.
It's a clove cigarette. It's not pot. And Green Day is the only good punk music.
Yes, we're going to get into that.
And like Richard Dreyfuss sliding down his couch.
We got to get some of that. What is it? Ginkgo or whatever he pours in his drink.
Ginkgo biloba.
Jing. We're gonna get overdose on Jing, and it's just gonna be random. So it's gonna be club random here with the pizza party.
Yeah.
Pizza Man. Sooner than later, that's the bonus. If you're not a member,
you won't get it.
Here, you're not going to be able to.
You won't be able to get it. So sign up on the One Fucking Hour Patreon, patreon.com/onefuckinghour. Or if you want it on YouTube, you got to go to our channel homepage, click the join button, become a Momen of the YouTube channel, and that's how. I suppose I should hit it. Become a Momen of the YouTube channel, and that's how you'll be able to see it up there. It's audio commentary, live watch along with us.
Join us.
Pizza Man, join us for that up on the Patreon. Or is what we're probably soon going to be rebranding it as the One Fucking Hour. Probably. But all right, so let's talk about next week on the main channel for all the non-subscribers. What are we doing next week for the main show? I wanted to say this off the top of the episode, but I didn't get a chance to. But we'll get into it deeper. But unfortunately, we lost another great director, guys. R.I.P. Goes out to Ted Kotcheff, the director of Wake and Fright, of course, which shout out, we did that episode in the archives sometime last year, I think we did. Maybe even before that. I can't even remember. It might be 2 years ago. But Ted Kotcheff unfortunately passed away, 94 years old. He was an amazing filmmaker, very diverse filmography, First Blood, Weekend at Bernie's, North Dallas 40. I had the opportunity of working with him I think it was a little over 10 years ago when we did the re-release of Wake and Fright with Draft House, and I was working there and got to know Ted, went on the road with Ted, went to Ted's house. We hung hard. He met my dad. I mean, we were pretty close. So, yeah, he was a very sweet guy, super, super nice, and always believed in me, which was very cool. He always was checking in on what I was doing and, introduced me to people and was a big supporter. So it was very cool. So looking forward to pay tribute to Ted next week as we're going to cover one of his films. And this is a fun one from Ted's filmography, one we've actually shortlisted in the past about talking about because we love talking about James Woods on this podcast. Any James Woods gems?
I mean, an episode dear to me, I think it was the second episode where we did The Boost.
Yeah, the fifth episode. Yeah.
The Boost, the fifth, okay.
The Boost.
The Boost with James Woods. This is more hardcore, uncut, raw, 80s James Woods. He's a deprogrammer of cult members in the film Split Image.
That's it. And, Split Image. Woo! Yeah.
I know, really. And yeah, this is shortlisted. I mean, like, we love our cult movies here. Who doesn't? You know, those kind of cult movies.
Yep.
Movies about cults. And yes, it's also going to be a tribute to Ted. So
yeah, next week.
Can't wait.
1 fucking hour on Split Image, starring James Woods. As Tom said, he plays a cult deprogrammer, a very interesting film. Many of you probably have never seen. Maybe you have. I don't know. Let us know. Yeah. But next week, we're going to be getting into that.
Caddyshack. Right?
What's that?
The guy from Caddyshack, too?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So, fucking Easy Rider fucking is in the movie.
Peter Fonda is the cult leader.
Yeah, it's insane. So we're going to get into that very exciting stuff. But again, thank you so much, Jason, for joining us this week. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Stopping by the. We appreciate that. And but we can't leave you without, of course, your parting gift, your party favor. Of course, everybody is your Momen of Zen. All right, everybody. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week for Split Image. See you later, everybody. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
That was wicked, man.